Hello there. My name is sometimes Heather and I play Elder Scrolls Online. A few weeks ago, I showed you a OneBar Disease Necromancer, and today I'd like to share with you some alterations I made to Etherna's build. I have given her 2 weapons and a few more abilities. We are still a dark elf, our attribute points still sit on stamina, we still walk under the lava boon, but vampirism, it do be gone, for now at least. Let's start with a quick look at champion points. In Warfare, my active stars are Weapons Expert, Reaving Blows, Wrathful Strikes and Untamed Aggression. In Fitness, I have Bloody Renewal, Soothing Shield, Rejuvenation and Fortified. In Crafts, I have gone with Master Gatherer, Treasure Hunter, Homemaker and Plentiful Harvest. Do choose the craft stars that make playing fun for you. I have given Etherna 2 lightning staffs. Let's start from our backup weapon. First, we have Structured Entropy. This major skilled ability deals a set amount of magic damage to one enemy over 22 seconds and also heals Etherna every 2 seconds. I picked this one to help keep my vampire version alive and also due to a major skill passive. When you push said skill line all the way to max level, you are blessed with Empower whenever you cast a major skill ability. The grind here is real but still worth it. Next, we have Elemental Drain. This grants one enemy major breach, which reduces their physical and spell resistance. Elemental Drain also afflicts enemies with minor magical steel, which helps Etherna and her allies restore magicka when enemies take damage. This might be of more use to a magicka character, but there is a method to my madness. Oh, look at the butterflies! Then we have Skeletal Arcanist. This summons a friend to fight by Etherna's side for 20 seconds at a time. While this skeletal mage doesn't do that much damage, it does have a more important value. When summoned, the mage grants Etherna Major Brutality and Sorcery, which give a 20% boost to weapon and spell damage. Also, the mage leaves a corpse behind upon leaving. I have given Etherna a proper heal just to make certain she doesn't die 15 times per hour. Healing Soul is a scribed ability. This heals Etherna or an ally both instantly and over time, while also granting Etherna Major Savagery and Major Prophecy, which boost weapon and spell critical rating. I could have, of course, used a Necromancer heal, and if you would like to do so, please do. Last on this staff, we have Magical Explosion, another scribed ability. This causes an elemental explosion at target location to deal both instant and overtime shock damage. I also threw in Lifesteal, which heals Etherna and her allies while Magical Explosion lingers. I have used quite a few scribed abilities with this build, mainly to further immersion and help Etherna delve deeper into disease damage. If you choose to try this one, do feel free to have fun with the abilities I've scribed and add your favorites to the mix. Moving on to our main weapon, another lightning staff. First, we have our reliable spammer, Venomous Skull. This allows Etherna to toss an explosive skull at enemies. The skull deals a set amount of poison damage, and every third cast will do 50% more damage. In combat, any necro ability will count toward the third cast. Did I copy-paste from previous video script? Yes, I did, and will continue to do so. Next, we have a scribed ability. Pestilent Trample will summon your mount to barge at enemies and to deal both instant and overtime disease damage. Pestilent Trample will also grant enemies minor vulnerability, which increases their damage taken. Trample is a super fun ability, but I feel that the previous OneBar setup did it more justice. This version of Plaguebringer has 2 abilities that take time to cast, and that is a bit much. Still, I wanted to incorporate my Contagious Nixox. I have added Blockade of Storms. This creates a storm barrier that deals a set amount of shock damage to enemies in the target area over 15 seconds. It also sends concussed enemies off balance, but I didn't find a way to exploit that here. Moving on, we have Blighted Blast Bombs. This summons a diseased skeleton to run after an enemy. After 2.5 seconds, it explodes to deal a set amount of disease damage to all enemies around. It also makes enemies diseased and grants them Major Defile, which reduces healing received and damage shield strength. I really like this ability, it's both fun and flashy, and huggy. And last, Detonating Siphon. Necromancer tethers were given a bit of a boost a while back, and therefore I wanted to incorporate one into this build. I rarely remember to use it though. This drains the last bits of life from a fallen enemy or a corpse Aetherna's created to deal disease damage to all those who touch the tether. This also grants Aetherna Major Savagery and Prophecy, which boost weapon and spell critical for 20 seconds at a time. Did you get Deja Vu too? Due to Healing Soul, this ability can also be replaced with something you like better. Just make certain it's an overtime ability. Our ultimate, naturally, is Pestilent Colossus. This unearths a mighty monster to smash enemies 3 times. The strikes all do a set amount of disease damage. The Colossus also grants enemies minor vulnerability, which reduces damage taken. Our abilities mainly come from Gravelord, Living Death, Destruction Staff, and Major skill lines. I would encourage you to get all passives from these lines, and also racial passives and medium armor passives. I have given Aetherna my usual 3 armor sets. Let's start with an Overland set from Westweald. I have used this before, not that long ago, but it's really good. I have this covering both weapons and all jewelry slots. Macabre Vintage boosts weapon and spell damage. With all 5 pieces equipped, killing a monster will cause them to burst and to spread half of their health in bleed damage to all enemies close enough. This is a mega fun set, and I could not resist reusing it with Aetherna. The amount of immersion this brings when playing as a vampire is unfathomable. For our monster set, I chose Validreth. This drops when you slay the last boss in Cradle of Shadows in Veteran, although I got mine from the Golden. Shoulders can be purchased from undaunted vendors. Validreth adds to weapon and spell damage. With both pieces equipped, you'll have a chance to send 3 disease balls to deal disease damage to all enemies in their path. Validreth is actually the reason why Plaguebringer came to be, and I love the way it ties with Pestilent Trample. For that set, I picked out something a bit trickier to use. Azurblight Reaper drops from the lair of Marsalok, and rumor has it this will be nerfed with update 44. Azurblight adds to critical chance, maximum stamina and stamina recovery. With all 5 pieces, an interesting perk is unlocked. When you deal damage with an overtime effect, a stack of Blightseed will be added to your target. When you have 20 stacks, Blightseed will explode to deal a set amount of disease damage to the target and to enemies around. This is a nightmare to get rolling when enemies are small and numerous, but against boss enemies, this set is the bomb, literally. And this brings us quite naturally to rotation. I like to start by summoning Skeletal Arcanist. After, I cast Magical Explosion followed by Entropy and Elemental Drain. Then I switch to my main weapon and open with Pestilent Trample and Blast Bombs. After Blockade of Storms, I spam Venom Skull until something dies, use Detonating Siphon and repeat as needed. Azurblight usually starts triggering at around Blockade of Storms, and then you can just feed it more overtime abilities to keep it going. As I was tweaking Aetherna last Tuesday, I decided to let go of vampirism for this build. For me, personally, it's a huge immersion breaker, but being a real girl does have its upsides. Aetherna has full health regeneration, Her abilities cost a normal amount of stamina or magicka. She doesn't even need to run from fire. And still, I miss being a stage 4 vampire. I kinda like the way this version of Plaguebringer turned out, and I think in the future I'd like to make more builds where vampirism is optional, not the main star. My roses will remain vampires, but that doesn't mean your characters need to. And this actually brings us to the topic of our next video. Is there really a point of being a vampire, and if so, what? I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all later.